dominated by cinematic franchises, where sequels are engineered to maximize profit and minimize risk. Joker-FOLIE A DUEX arrives not merely as a continuation of Arthur Fleck's descent into madness, but as a deliberate, almost defiant counterpoint to the homogenized universe building of contemporary Hollywood. At its core, the film is a psychological rebellion against the cookie-cutter conventions of franchise filmmaking. A manic middle finger to the expectations that sequels are simply extensions of a formula, rather than explorations of character, psyche, and thematic audacity. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by Audible. Stay tuned after the video to learn how to explore a whole new world of incredible stories at your fingertips. Audible. Close your eyes, press play, and let the stories unfold. From a narrative perspective, FOLIE A DUEX refuses the linear predictability that often defines sequel culture. Mainstream follow-ups tend to prioritize spectacle over substance, rewarding audiences with action set pieces, fan service, and repetition of familiar beats. Todd Phillips' sequel, however, doubles down on the psychological intricacies of its protagonist, using Arthur Fleck's deteriorating mental state as a lens through which to critique both society and the film industry at large. Here, the sequel is not about escalation of action or broadening of a cinematic universe. It is about deepening the internal chaos of a single, psychologically complex character. In this sense, FOLIE A DUEX functions as a meta-commentary on the prevailing formula of sequels. Where others multiply spectacle, Phillips multiplies psychosis. Psychologically, the film thrives in the realm of duality and mirror imagery, aptly hinted at in the title, which reflects a shared psychosis. The FOLIE A DUEX motif is not only a narrative device, but a symbolic stand against the monolithic, corporate-driven sameness of franchise cinema. Just as the characters' minds intertwine in unpredictable, unstable ways, the film refuses to conform to the rigid narrative structures of blockbuster sequels. It embraces unpredictability, moral ambiguity, and aesthetic risk, positioning chaos as the very antithesis of formulaic filmmaking. In essence, the film is a psychological manifesto. Sequels need not be mechanical reproductions of their predecessors. They can be subversive, provocative, and daringly introspective. Moreover, the film's musical sequences, surreal visuals, and tonal shifts operate as a critique of the sanitization inherent in mainstream sequels. While conventional franchises package trauma, violence, and sociopathy into digestible, palatable forms for mass consumption, FOLIE A DUEX immerses viewers in the grotesque and uncomfortable textures of Arthur's inner life. The audience is confronted with psychological authenticity instead of cinematic convenience. The film asks viewers to tolerate unease, to inhabit the instability of its characters, rather than to be soothed by the comforting beats of narrative predictability. In this way, it functions as both a mirror and a challenge to an industry increasingly risk-averse, revealing the psychological dullness that often underpins repetitive franchise storytelling. In a cinematic landscape dominated by sequels engineered for uniformity and predictable returns, the musical approach of the film is a radical act of narrative and authentic defiance. Where most franchise continuations rely on spectacle, formula, and fan service, Todd Phillips' choice to embed musical sequences into a psychologically complex narrative signals a deliberate effort to assert the sequel's independence, creating a self-contained story that exists on its own audacious terms. The musical is not a mere stylistic flourish. It is a psychological tool, a formal rebellion, and a statement of creative autonomy. Musicals, by their very nature, demand heightened engagement with the internal world of characters. Throughout this film, song and choreography operate as extensions of Arthur Fleck's fractured psyche, externalizing emotions too chaotic, too intimate, and too grotesque to be conveyed through dialogue or conventional action. These sequences allow the audience to inhabit his mania, his obsession, and his destabilizing influence over those around him. By integrating musical elements into a dark psychological drama, the film distances itself from the cookie-cutter expectations of a franchise sequel, which traditionally trade internal exploration for external spectacle. The music becomes an instrument of psychological immersion, a conduit through which the sequel asserts its independence and refuses to be a mere continuation in the service of brand recognition. Moreover, these musical sequences serve as a meta-commentary on the limitations of traditional franchise filmmaking. In formulaic sequels, narrative beats become predictable. Escalation, conflict, resolution. Wash, rinse, repeat. By contrast, the musical interludes in Folie A Deux operate on rhythm, mood, and emotional logic rather than plot convenience. The result is a tonal flexibility that allows the sequel to explore surrealism, satire, and psychosis in ways straightforward narrative could not. The film challenges the audience to experience the story viscerally rather than mechanically, emphasizing sensation and emotion over conventional storytelling. This choice is a bold declaration. Sequels need not imitate the linearity and spectacle of their predecessors. They can flex imaginative muscle, redefining the parameters of continuation. From the psychological perspective, the musical sequences amplify the theme of duality and shared madness embedded in the film's title. Song and movement become shared language, a Folie A Deux of expression where internal and external realities intermingle. By translating chaos and obsession into musical form, the film intensifies its critique of formulaic storytelling. It shows how sequels can achieve originality, not by adhering to market-tested beats, but by daring to translate internal psychological states into formal experimentation. The musical here is both character study and manifesto. It underscores that creativity and risks are possible, even within the confines of a franchise framework. The musical dimensions reinforce the sequel's defiance of audience expectation. While franchise films typically commodify familiarity, these sequences deliberately challenge viewers with tonal shifts, stylized surrealism, and dissonant emotion. The effect is disorienting, immersive, and uniquely rewarding, an experience that cannot be replicated by generic sequel logic. In this sense, the musical is not decorative, but revolutionary, transforming the film into a self-sufficient artistic entity that flexes the creative freedom often sacrificed in mass-market sequels. It's my opinion that this approach exemplifies the film's broader rebellion against franchise conventions. By fusing psychological depth with formal audacity, the musical sequences elevate the sequel from a derivative continuation into a standalone, self-aware work of cinematic artistry. This choice underscores that sequels can be daring, introspective, and creatively liberated. In embracing song, dance, and surrealist expression, Folie A Deux signals a profound truth. Originality and franchise storytelling are not mutually exclusive, but require boldness, risk, and a willingness to let the story, and its madness, sing. The film's very existence, an audacious rated-R sequel, in a world where sequels are often sanitized for broader demographics, stands as a metatextual critique. It confronts the commercial imperatives of Hollywood directly. Where franchise films default to spectacle, Phillips defaults to psychosis. Where others deliver certainty, Folie A Deux delivers ambiguity. The sequel, rather than diluting the original, amplifies the core thematic obsession, alienation, societal neglect, and the dangerous intimacy between madness and charisma. In doing so, it exposes the intellectual and emotional imprisonment that can result when sequels prioritize brand over vision. Despite what many believe, JOKER-FOLIE A DUEX is a psychologically driven revolt against the predictability and commercial safety of franchise cinema. By centering character over spectacle, chaos over formula, and psychological depth over narrative convenience, the film positions itself as a provocative critique of the sequel industrial complex. It is not merely a continuation of a story, but a cinematic middle finger to the industry that too often equates repetition with success, daring audiences to embrace discomfort, ambiguity, and the uncharted recesses of the human mind. In doing so, Phillips' sequel transcends its genre, proving that sequels can, and perhaps must, be acts of defiance as much as acts of continuation. If you're anything like me, film doesn't end when the credits roll. The best stories linger. They follow you home. They live in your head long after the screen fades to black. That's why I'm proud to partner with Audible. Audible isn't just audiobooks. It's an entire library of storytelling. Horror, noir, true crime, sci-fi, psychological thrillers, Audible original podcasts. The kinds of narratives we explore here on Embrace the Film don't stop at cinema. On Audible, you can dive into the novels that inspire your favorite film, explore exclusive original dramas, and experience immersive audio productions that feel as cinematic as anything you'd see in a theater. If you love the psychological tension of a slow burn thriller, or the creeping dread of analog horror, Audible lets you carry that atmosphere with you on late night drives, long walks, or those quiet hours when the world feels just a little too still. It's storytelling without a screen, and sometimes that makes it even more intimate, because now the images have to come from you. You can start listening today and get a free trial by using the link in the description. It's one of the best ways to support the channel while discovering your next obsession. Close your eyes, press play, and let the story unfold with Audible. Well, friends, that's gonna be all for now. If you are interested in this film, I urge you to check it out for yourself and formulate your own thoughts and opinions about it. I hope you come share those thoughts and opinions in the comments. Let me know if there are any movies that you would like to see discussed on this channel. I always love to hear from you guys, and I do my best to try and respond to everyone. As always, I've put a link down in the description to a physical copy of this film, if one exists, that you can add to your collection. Using that link helps out the channel, and that's always appreciated. If you like this video, I urge you to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already. I know that some of you watching aren't subscribed, so help out the channel and subscribe. If you'd like to go the extra mile and support the channel even more, we do have a couple options for you to do so. You can join us on Patreon, where you can get yourself early access to future videos, Patreon exclusive content, and access to the ETF Digital Archive. We get a lot of compliments about the VHS collection that you guys see in the background of our videos. Well, we've been hard at work slowly digitizing the collection and creating a place where we can share it with all of you. Thanks to the help of the Plex platform, we can now do just that. This is our way of doing our part in helping preserve that gritty, nostalgic VHS look and feeling before it's gone forever. With Plex, you can stream our VHS collection from anywhere at any time. It's basically like having a streaming service for VHS, which I think is pretty cool. Additionally, if you're tired of adding to your growing list of monthly subscriptions, you can help support the channel on Ko-Fi, where you can drop a single tip the cost of a cup of coffee or less. No pressure, no tiers required. But with all of the same monthly benefits that you will find on Patreon offered as well. We also have a Mercari store where you can go and get yourself a little piece of the ETF archive. While collecting VHS, Blu-rays, and DVDs over many years, we wind up with lots of duplicates, and we unfortunately can't store them all. So on our Mercari shop, we have all of those for sale. Purchasing those not only expands your collection, but makes room for us to expand ours. All the links for everything are down in the description. Until next time, stay safe, and as always, thanks for watching.